Hello, my name is JD and welcome to Idiots. It is time for another episode of my collection. So today we're going to be discussing my Mortal Kombat collection. It is not a complete collection yet, but I'm still going and it's been ongoing for over 10 years now. So let's get started. Alright, so the first part is the original Mortal Kombat game on the Super Nintendo. This is the one that didn't have any blood in it. It's actually surprisingly not the first thing I bought in Mortal Kombat to start my collection, and it will surprise you what was the thing that started my Mortal Kombat collection. But this was the game that got me going in Mortal Kombat. I remember I used to rent it on Sega Mega Drive, playing it with my dad, and it was one of my favourite games to play, and then finally I got a copy of this. It's actually funny how I got this copy. I have one of those, I don't know if you will remember it, because I'm assuming whoever's watching this has, is a big Mortal Kombat fan. They had these game controllers that had the game inside the controller, and you plug it straight into your TV with the two AV cords. Well, I had that of the first Mortal Kombat game, released about 2005, and I got sick of it. I got sick of changing the batteries, and then I found out someone else had the Mortal Kombat game on Super Nintendo, and his Super Nintendo didn't work anymore, so I offered a trade. His Super Nintendo copy for my control copy. It turns out those control things are actually kind of worth a bit now, so part of me regrets selling it, but yeah, there's that. Next on the list is Mortal Kombat 2 on Super Nintendo. Now, I know you might have noticed these covers look a little weird. It's because I lost the boxes a long time ago. That one, the first game didn't even come with a box. So what I did is I took old Sega Mega Drive games that I hated, like, cricket and shit, and I went to my computer, printed off a cover, wasted all my parents' ink, and then slipped it in. Now, in my opinion, this is probably the hardest Mortal Kombat game to play. Like, I almost find it straight up impossible at some points. But, it's actually the only Mortal Kombat game I've never finished the arcade tower on. And I don't know why, I don't know if it's that game, but I just can't do it. It's Kintara, I can't get past him. I've never versed Khan in Mortal Kombat 2. But yeah, it's a good game. Alright, now we're up to Mortal Kombat 3, okay? This one came out in 1995. Oh, by the way, Mortal Kombat 2 came out in 1993. Anyway, so 1995 was Mortal Kombat 3, so they took 2 years to make this game. And I would honestly have to say, out of the original, trilogies, which is this one, Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3 Ultimate and Trilogy, this was the one I played the most. A bunch of my friends owned it, so we'd always be at each other's houses playing this game. And I was one of the guys that was pro striker. So yeah, my most nostalgic moments come from this game in the original trilogy. And I also have Mortal Kombat 4 on Nintendo 64. Now, I've still got the booklet. Now, it's actually funny how I come to lose this cover. I used to have the cover for years and years, and then one day I left it sitting on my shelf. My mother thought it was rubbish, and she chucked it in the bin. When I got home from school, I found out, and oh God, I dug through that bin, and when I finally found it, it was so mangled, it was unfixable, and it was covered in garbage juice. It was disgusting. But yeah, that was a very sad moment for me, but luckily the instruction booklet was on my bed under my pillow, and she didn't notice. The reason why it was probably on my pillow is I was probably just reading through it to fall asleep, and then I just somehow wound up under the pillow. But of the 90s Mortal Kombat games, the main ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is probably my least favourite of the group. Although it has my favourite game mode. I love tournament mode. That's all I can really say about this one. Next on my list on the PS1, it is Mortal Kombat Trilogy. This one was really fun to play. It's like the All-Stars version of it. It was the first game to have every character from all the previous games and to have them playable. So that was a big deal in itself. Personally, I think it's a little more broken than what Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate was. I think star power it's the strongest, but when it comes to actual gameplay, it's the weakest. And I found Noob Saibot's power where he would shoot the thing at you, the cloud, so you weren't able to hit him while that was on you, it made him the strongest character in the game. I used to be able to slam through tower with that stuff. I used to spam it on everyone, especially the people who didn't know how to play Mortal Kombat. Those were the funniest people to play it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yes, I don't have mythologies. But what I do have is special forces. This was actually a really hard game to get hold of. I don't know what they go for now, but at the time I paid $120 for this. And the funniest thing about it, it rocked up broken. Like, the disc was fine, but the case was completely destroyed because whoever had sent it put it in a regular envelope. Like, was able to fit it in a regular size envelope with no bubble wrap around, nothing to protect it, and it came shattered. And that is why I had to makeshift turn this double pack Mortal Kombat Trilogy into a double pack for Special Forces. Because Mortal Kombat Trilogy, for some reason, it released in a double pack looking cover, but it only had one disc. I never got that. But in my honest opinion, this was the most shittiest Mortal Kombat game I've ever played. It's the only one I've never, like, given much time to since playing it that one time. Like, the bird's eye view was stupid, but it wasn't always bird's eye view. It was mostly, like, from the back, but just the gameplay was terrible, and it just felt like a really broken and unfinished game. And in my opinion, this was the game that killed the Mortal Kombat franchise for a bit until it had a revival. Alright, most people don't really like this game in the franchise, but I have to be honest with you, this was the game that revamped me as a Mortal Kombat fan. I had stopped playing after Mortal Kombat 4, so I'd been out of it for 5 years, and then all of a sudden I found out about this game, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and I found out in 2003, late 2003, early 2004, just as Mortal Kombat Deception was being made. And I went around to a friend's house to play it. He wasn't even my friend at the time. I just wanted to go to his house because I found out he had a new Mortal Kombat game, and I had no idea there was a new Mortal Kombat game. I didn't even know Special Forces existed. But I went to his house just for that, and the funniest thing about it, it spawned a best friend. This game actually made me a best friend, and the guy ended up being my best man at my wedding for it. And in a way, we have this game to thank for it. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, and I personally find it to be the most replayable game out of the entire franchise for two main reasons. One, I just love the characters. I love how you can impale them with the weapons. That was always fun. And I love the crypt. It's still the best crypt to this day. It's so simple. It doesn't need to have a game mode like it does today. It just needs to be from A to Z, like, A, A, B, A, C. It just needs to do that through the whole alphabet of just crypt stuff, and the crypt content was way better back then. Like, I get now it's more of a game reason, like, you got gear packs and shit like that, but I actually think that the content that you got from Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance was way funnier and more entertaining than any crypt since. I mean, you just had, like, you could tell they were having fun with what they were putting on in those crypt coffins. Like, you had Shang Tsung having a concept of trying to sell things to make soles in your shoes smell better, or you had skin lotion from Reptile, fucking Kano's cereal, which I always thought would have been the coolest thing for Fruit Loops to have done to promote it, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Had like a Kano's box with, like, only red Fruit Loops. And who can forget the infamous cooking with Scorpion? Anyway, I've lingered on this too much. Moving on. To a lot of people of the PS2 era, this was the best Mortal Kombat game that ever came out. Now, I'm not going to go that far, but what I will say is that this Mortal Kombat game had the funnest conquest mode. It was the first Mortal Kombat game to give us a new boss in, like, a long time. Like, it had been 7 years since we had a new boss. Because, like, Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, they've been bosses before, but then with All Naga, and in my opinion, All Naga was the last awesome new boss that they had until the latest Mortal Kombat game come out. Because all they did was rehash Khan over and over again, and honestly, I'll get into that later. Let's just talk about this game. So with Mortal Kombat Deception, I loved how they brought back stage fatalities, but I found the most addictive part of it was puzzle combat and chess combat. And most of the time, if I ever put the game on to play again, that's usually the things I'm playing. I don't do arcade anymore, I don't do conquest anymore, I do chess combat and puzzle combat. And in my opinion, chess combat is the greatest mini-game Mortal Kombat ever came up with, including the Test Your Might. And I'd really like to see chess combat make a comeback. Put it on Mortal Kombat 11, or save it for Mortal Kombat 12. Mortal Kombat Shell and Monks. Now, in my opinion, if you're playing two-player, this is the greatest Mortal Kombat game to come out of the PS2 era. Because as a two-player game, I can't put it down. As a one-player game, yeah, it's not quite as fun because, you know, it's cool to, you know, have a friend to bounce off of. But I think the only downside to the co-op mode is that you got to share the same health bar. I always thought that was a little dodgy. I would have preferred, like, you know, if your friend dies and then you got to keep going until you die, because, like, so many times me and my friend will be playing Mortal Kombat and it'll be one of us that cops the final blow, and then we'll start blaming each other for dying. It'll be like, you copped the final blow, it's your fault we're dead. And then, oh no, you got more hits than I did, like you got way more damaged, I just got hit once. And it just started too many arguments. But Mortal Kombat Shadow Mars was great because it was different, and if you ask me, I don't want the next game to be Mortal Kombat 12. Maybe give Mortal Kombat 12 a real long gap away. Give us another one of these sort of games, because there was rumours at one point it was going to do a Scorpion and Sub-Zero one called Fire and Ice, and it never happened. This needs a sequel badly. Like, let's say hypothetically it's not going to happen, but let's say they release one in 2020. Alright? That's 15 years since this game came out. But I think, wait till about 2025, so 2025, that's when they should bring out Fire and Ice, because that'll be the perfect thing. It'll be the 10-year anniversary of it. Actually, that's a lie. It'll be the 20-year anniversary of it. Shit, I'm old. But yeah, Mortal Kombat Shadow Monks on PS2. This is, of all the PS2 games, I think it's the most purchase-worthy, just because it's different. Mortal Kombat Armageddon, their second attempt at the All-Star game. Now, this one, this is actually a funny story. This is the first game I ever bought with my own hard-earned money. When I bought this, I was working at some cleaning job. Shit, because they barely paid. But I found out that the new Mortal Kombat game released. I called up Kmart, made sure they had it, and then I went and rode my bike down and bought the game. And it was the greatest feeling to finally buy something for yourself. I remember it was $100 when I bought it. It's the same copy. All of these are, almost all of these are first purchase. Not many I've had to rebuy, but there is one that I've had to rebuy a lot, and I've suffered for it. But Mortal Kombat Armageddon, it was, the best part about it was creating your own fighter, because I finally got to create my own people for the Mortal Kombat world, and that was the funnest thing, because I'm one of those people that's a real sucker for creating characters. And this was just one of those games. It was the way I used to put it when I first got it, I was just so blinded by the idea of being able to create a character that I ignored the fact that the new fatality system was terrible. And it's true, it's the worst fatalities. Like, a lot of people say Mortal Kombat vs. DC had the worst fatalities. No, this had the worst fatalities because there was no creativity about it. It was more like, what I would have done, I wouldn't have named them fatalities. You should have named them brutalities. They should have just said, in this game, fatalities don't exist, only brutalities. Yeah, people would have been all like, oh, but what if they've done the fatality? Well, I would prefer these to be called brutalities than fatalities. But with the creating characters, I thought it was a good first step, and I actually am a little disappointed that they never revisited that idea again. As for Conquest Mode, I thought Conquest Mode was really fun. In fact, of the Conquest modes out of the three Mortal Kombat games, see, I consider Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon to be like the PS2 trilogy. And I think that this was the best Conquest Mode out of the three when it comes to the actual gameplay of the Conquest Mode. It's the only one I keep revisiting. But at the same time, it also had the worst crit mode of those three, the Mortal Kombat PS2 trilogy. But I do think it's worth owning if you're a Mortal Kombat fan and you wanted to be able to play as anyone. Like on this one, you can put Goro versus Khan. You can do, Sub-Zero versus... Well, he's been on all of them, so you could always do Sub-Zero. That's a bad example. You can do Kai versus Kenshi, for example. Kai sucks at it, but still. But yeah, Mortal Kombat Armageddon, it was a good play, and I never did play it online, no. Okay, so I said that I suffered for repeatedly rebuying a game. It was this one. Now I have to deal with having it without a cover because it was the only copy that was left. I'm actually thinking about buying a cover online just to add into it because it just doesn't look right. So this is about the 5th time I've rebought Mortal Kombat vs. DC, and this time I plan to keep it because now that PS3 is discontinued, it's not as simple as trading it in, and then when I feel like playing it again, going and buying it at full price again, which I kept doing for some reason. I know the first time I ever traded in, it was because I wanted to buy a 6-pack, and I found out that could afford a 6-pack if I traded it in. And the first time I ever traded in was at Thumb Snappers. I think. They actually no, they might have closed by then. I'm pretty sure I traded at Thumb Stabs at least once. But anyway, and then I, traded into EB Games multiple times, and every single time it was for beer. So that says a lot about my past. But I actually think it was a pretty good game. I remember when my mate, the same guy that reintroduced me to Mortal Kombat with Deadly Alliance, he sent me a text, because that's when texting was still kind of new. And he was like, dude, I just picked up Mortal Kombat vs. DC from Video Easy. And I was like, I don't give a shit what your plans are tonight. I'm coming to your house to play it. And we were up for, I think, 2 hours straight when we had school the next day. We were like 17 here, so, it's not as weird as it sounds. It's like 16, 17. So we went to his house and I actually rocked up at his house before he did. So I waited outside for him. And we played it for a couple of hours. He's like, dude, you need to leave now because we got school tomorrow. And that's how we ended up. And then I came back the next day and he'd already finished the story mode on me, the bastard. But yeah, it was really fun. So yeah, Mortal Kombat vs. DC, it's not great, but I think it was a good reintroduction. It was a good reset button after Armageddon. Mortal Kombat 9, or Mortal Kombat 2011. This game, in my opinion, is what revamped Mortal Kombat fully being into the top game again. And in my opinion, it hasn't been at that level of popularity since Mortal Kombat Deception, or maybe even Mortal Kombat 3. This game put Mortal Kombat back into the billion-dollar game. I don't know if literally, because I haven't looked up the sales or anything. But it was actually banned in Australia when it first released, and I bought mine from China. And, all the back of it was not in English. The game was in English, but the back of it wasn't. So I gave that copy up. But then this one rocked up when they finally made it legal, and I bought the complete edition. Yeah, I'd already sold the other one, so I wish I kept it so I could say that I had it first. At least in my town. In my town, I was actually the only one that owned it at the start, before people started just buying it off of eBay. I actually found out that some people had even put a pre-order down at EB Games, only to find out that the game wasn't coming out. But this was a really fun game, and the DLC characters would kick ass. I actually found out that Mortal Kombat vs. DC was going to have DLC characters. Apparently some of the rumored names was Johnny Cage, and I think Bane was another one rumored for it. But it fell through when Midway went out of business. But this was originally planned to have some more DLCs, but they ended up just sticking with the 4 characters. And the cool thing is, because I'm a PlayStation guy, I got Kratos in my copy. But yeah, and the story mode, wow. I didn't even talk about Mortal Kombat vs. DC story mode. Just a quick one on DC, I loved how you had the stories. You could pick your side and see in both sides of the story. So you were the bad guy or you were the good guy on both sides of the story, but the other way it seemed like you were bad. But anyway, back to the story mode on this. In my opinion, of Mortal Kombat X and then Mortal Kombat 11, I think this one has the best story of them all. And I kind of consider Mortal Kombat 9, X, and 11 to be kind of like the other trilogy. If you want to be technical, yeah, just this one and DC released on PS3, but I see a trilogy there. And I remember at one point Mortal Kombat X was going to be released on PS3. But anyway, yeah, this game is one of those must-own ones. Of all the games I've talked about so far, I think this is the one that you most need to own because it really speaks to modern people, and not as much as the other ones do. Maybe the other ones might seem a bit dated for some gamers these days. Alright, Mortal Kombat X, we're up to one of the big ones. So as you can see, I got it in the big box set. It came with, the Scorpion statue, it came with the big Mortal Kombat X box, came with the steel case game cover. And it also came with something I'm going to mention a little later because I'm putting it in the other category for now. But Mortal Kombat X, it was a pretty brutal game. But one thing I've honestly found about the fatalities lately is they've kind of got a bit stale. I think they're making them too violent. Example, with Jason Voorhees, as a DLC character, he has one fatality where he hacks the shit out of you. And honestly, I can't even remember his other fatality. I think the fatalities that they gave Jason weren't great. Honestly, I would have done it different. I would have given one of his fatalities to be that one from Jason X, when he grabs the guy in a headlock and just slowly breaks his neck. Because, I think, yeah, it's brutal to have them rip their heads off, but there is something more disturbing about watching a guy get his neck slowly broken than watching his head get ripped off for some reason. I just find it grosser and cooler. And then you got like Leatherface. Now they could have done so much with Leatherface's fatalities, but instead they kept it really bland, in my opinion. If I'm being honest with myself, Cassie Cage's fatality selfie, just look it up, is the best fatality I've seen in a long time. The last time I saw a fatality that good was Quan Chi's leg beating one, and yeah, they did use it again in Mortal Kombat 9, but I'm going by when it started, and Mortal Kombat 4 was the last time I saw a fatality that cool. But in the end, Mortal Kombat X is a good game. I don't find it as replayable simply because they need to bring back tag mode, because that's what made it awesome. And I think the online Tales of Time just were boring, and I actually think that Mortal Kombat X wasn't as replayable as Mortal Kombat 9 was. So it won't be as high on my list as if I was to do a ranking. As a little side note, I did buy Mortal Kombat XL because I didn't want to re-buy all the DLC characters when my PS4 crashed, and I didn't know what account I used to get into it. So instead, I just picked up Mortal Kombat XL because I actually did the math. It was cheaper for me to just straight up buy XL than to have re-bought all the DLC characters again in their combat packs. That says a lot. Alright, so we're up to the last of the games, Mortal Kombat 11, which came in a steel case book, and for some reason my combat pack code don't work. And I bought it brand new, not pre-owned. Mortal Kombat 11, honestly, of the last three, I find it to be the most disappointing. I find it to be the least replayable. Once you go through story mode, I don't see a purpose in playing it. They really need to bring back tag mode. I don't know if I'm growing out of Mortal Kombat, which I doubt it, because it's fucking R-rated, so it's not meant for kids. But there was just something off about this game. But I am looking forward to playing Spawn when he comes out, because I love Spawn. And I really hope that it's Ash as a DLC character. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be. But at this point, it hasn't been announced yet. All we know is that Sindel, Nightwolf, and Spawn are going to be in the game. I think they announced one more. But who knows. So there we go. There is my game collection. Now let's go to the side stuff. Alright, starting with a Mortal Kombat t-shirt. It's pretty self-explanatory. It was a $20 t-shirt and it was out to promote Mortal Kombat 9, so I bought it when they were promoting Mortal Kombat X. Yeah, obviously they haven't sold them all yet. Alright, here we go. The Mortal Kombat X Blood Ties comic book. Another one of the side ones I'm mentioning just because it came with Mortal Kombat X. I've read the comic. It's actually a pretty good story. I'm pretty tempted to actually buy the rest of them. I just haven't got around to getting them. So maybe in a revisited episode I'll have much more by then. I'm actually hoping that by the time I get to the revisited, that I own Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero Mythologies. If I can have it my way, it'll be on PS1. Two little Scorpion and Sub-Zero dolls. These are actually given to me by a friend, not to me, but to my daughter when she was first born. And she used to sleep with them all night, and then passed them on to my son. He used to use them to go to bed with. But now they're both kind of grown out of the stuffed toys thing, so they ended up in the shed now. And this is where they live with the Mortal Kombat collection. Alright, so, side meter, now we're on to audio. I have the Mortal Kombat album. Not the one from the movie, but the one that was made and they've written songs about the Mortal Kombat characters. Yeah, that's all I need to say about it, really. It's weird. But I won't lie, the Johnny Cage song and the Sub-Zero song are really good. But when it comes to the Sub-Zero song, Chinese Ninja Warrior, I thought he was Japanese. But, yeah, that could just be me. But, he's not a ninja, he's Lin Kuei. But the lyrics, it's literally like they just read their bio and was like, alright, well, let's write a song about this. It's a stupid album, but this is the only album that I'll ever say it's so bad that it's good. The original motion picture soundtrack of Mortal Kombat, this is an awesome CD to own if you're a big fan of the first movie. Because it's got all the songs in it. And that's all I'm really going to say about it. There's not really much to talk about. It's an album, and it's good. Alright, so the original Mortal Kombat movie on Blu-ray. I have just bought the Mortal Kombat Annihilation on Blu-ray. It's not here yet, it's on its way. And I plan to buy Legacy 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. I don't own them, sorry. Once again, it'll be better for a revisited episode. But the Mortal Kombat movie on Blu-ray now, this is a kick-ass movie to own, and it's really good to see in Blu-ray. And I've noticed that every single time it gets an update, there's no new scenes added, but the movie always goes for longer every time. This Blu-ray copy of Mortal Kombat goes for 1 hour and 41 minutes. Remember that. I'm going to tell you the time of the other ones when I get to them. The Mortal Kombat movie on DVD. Once again, the same thing. It's Mortal Kombat on DVD. This is actually the first Mortal Kombat movie I bought. This DVD copy here. And it was great time. This copy of Mortal Kombat goes for 93 minutes. An hour and 33 minutes. Somehow, despite not having any new scenes added in, it goes for 8 minutes longer. The the Blu-ray goes for 8 minutes longer. Mortal Kombat Annihilation on DVD. Surprisingly, this is the only copy of Annihilation I actually own. Yes, that's a foreshadowing of what's going to happen later. So, this movie came out in 98, I think. Or 97. I brought this one shortly after buying the first Mortal Kombat movie. I picked up the first Mortal Kombat movie at Kmart for like 15 bucks. And I picked this one up at Video Easy for 30 bucks, you hustling motherfuckers. Because it's such a terrible movie. Yes, I actually own a DVD of Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. This one's Volume 2. I used to own it on video, but I lost it. This one has episodes of one of Liu Kang and Kitana and meeting Rain. And then another one of, I think, Striker and Sub-Zero having a bet, and you find out about Sub-Zero's past. It's not great, but it was good for when I was a kid, and my kids actually like watching it. Then we got Volume 3 of Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. One day I will plan to actually get all of these, just for collection purposes. But, honestly, I think one episode's a Kano one, and I think the other one, Sonya gets Jax hurt or something. Well, no, she gets Striker hurt. And yeah, it's an alright DVD, but it's not great. Now, I'm showing these two together because I should have done it with the Defenders of the Realm, but I've already done it. So we have Mortal Kombat Conquest, Volume 1 and 1 to 6. Basically, Season 1 of Mortal Kombat Conquest. It's actually funny, I had given up on looking for these movies because they never had a Region 4 release, and then I found out that they did. By accident, I was in a place called Cheapest Chips. It's like the really shitty store. It's got stuff really cheap. And I was flicking through all the DVDs and I was finding nothing. My wife was like, buy something for yourself, because I never buy things for myself, which is funny to say when I look at everything I bought. But you got to count, it's taken me over 10 years to collect all this stuff. I've been collecting Mortal Kombat games and stuff since 2004. That's when I officially started buying them. But just as I was about to leave, I noticed at the corner of my eye the little Mortal Kombat font on the side, and I quickly pulled it out and I noticed it was Conquest. I thought I was just going to be pulling out another copy of the first movie. And it was Volume 1. No, it was Volume 2. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I gotta buy this. So I bought it, and then it encouraged me to go onto eBay and then buy Volume 1, or the first half of Season 1. And I don't know what people say about this thing, but I actually like Mortal Kombat Conquest. It's a good show. I wish it had a second season. I don't wish it had a third, but it ended on the worst fucking cliffhanger. Mortal Kombat have a massive habit on ending on cliffhangers and not delivering on them. And I can literally run through all of them. Okay, so first season of Mortal Kombat Conquest ended with Raiden being captured by Khan, Kung Lao, Zero, and Tasha being murdered, along with Kitana, and there was a hint about Goro for Season 2. The original plan was that Season 1 was going to establish Kung Lao as Mortal Kombat's champion, Season 2 was going to have Kung Lao be defeated by Goro, and thus, linking it to the first movie because Goro's been champion ever since. That was a great concept, and they should have gone with it. But, Warner Brothers decided, nah, we don't want to do that, and they cancelled the show. The other part of it, we got Mortal Kombat, the original movie. It ends with Khan coming out of nowhere, being from the building, oh, you weak, pathetic fools, I've come for your souls. And then they're already fighting, you're like, oh, number 2 is going to be good because we're getting Shao Kahn. Then number 2 happened, and once again, it did not deliver. At least this one tried to deliver, unlike Conquest, which didn't do anything. And it was a terrible delivery. And the funny part is, though, when I was a kid, I actually thought that Mortal Kombat Annihilation was better just because it had more fighting. But as an adult, or even as a teenager, I realized, yeah, it's definitely the shitter movie. Now, let's go to the next one, Mortal Kombat Legacy Season 2. They ended on the biggest fucking cliffhanger, in my opinion, of all of them, with Liu Kang and Kung Lao standing off, and then they cut it out and they said to be continued, and it was never continued. I mean, you know, it's like, it came out in 2013, for fuck's sake. We're in 2019. It's been 6 years. Where's the continuation here? Just don't start what you can't finish. And that's why I've always been a big fan of, unless you have a guarantee money and already started filming, you do not end on cliffhangers. Alright, now we're doing a more humorous part of the collection. This is MKJD. And I know you're already thinking, the title, JD, what the fuck? This is the only copy of when I was a kid, and I thought it was funny voiceovering movies. Me and my friends used to just voice over movies when we were hanging out. This is before I started drinking, might I add. So it was just for personal amusement. So, I decided to get my dad's video camera and voice over the entire first Mortal Kombat movie. Now, what makes it more impressive is that I actually put effort into this. At the time, you only had 1 hour cassette tapes to, or 1 hour videotapes to film with. So, which means that halfway through, I had to stop recording, switch tapes, and then, you know, just keep going. Now, I know what you're thinking, oh, that doesn't sound like that much of an effort. What made it an effort is that I went to the liberty of then using the DVD to record it onto video, so it would have DVD quality picturing with my audio on it. And then to top it off, I then had it converted to DVD and then printed out a cover on my own. And I even rated it myself as M-rated. And yeah, that's just what the cover was. I can't remember. I found it. I don't know what it was. It might have been a, like maybe a teaser poster, but yeah. But there it is. Mortal MKJD, the first one. That one released in 2005. Yes, it had a sequel, MKJD 2 Annihilation. Now, maybe one day I'll actually upload an idiot flashback and I'll review these videos. Maybe. I don't know if I want to do it because it's terrible. This one, I was a little more half-assed with my production on it. I filmed the TV as I do when I do the voiceovers, but I never bothered with the DVD stuff, so it's actually regular quality, and that's why it's on VHS. And the videotape that I used to record over was a copy of The Mummy Returns. So what I did to give it more of a feeling that it's really a VHS tape, I didn't set it so the movie would go straight away. I waited till all the ads had played, and then I started recording it onto the videotape, just to give it that more authentic feel of being a rented movie. Mortal Kombat on VHS. This is the purchased version. That'll make sense soon. This was when I asked one of my grandparents to buy me Mortal Kombat. This was before I bought it. And in the time that I asked him and then finally got my copy of it, I'd already bought it on DVD, but he brought me a VHS version of it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Yes. Because he was eBay shopping by then. I didn't even know what eBay was at the time. And that was in 2005, and I still hadn't used eBay. But yeah, it's just cool to go for. Now, let's check something out. Alright, well this tape still goes for 93 minutes, so why is it that the Blu-ray and DVD have an extra 9 minutes between them? What happened there? Mortal Kombat, the animated video, The Journey Begins. This is actually really hard to find on video. Yes, what is on here are special features on the Blu-ray, but I'm pretty sure the making of Mortal Kombat isn't on the Blu-ray though. But this is terrible. I picked this up for $2 at a second-hand shop by accident. And it was actually the same time I brought one of those Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm volumes. The way I came to own this is basically my mother worked at daycare at the time, and she went there to buy some shitty toys for like kids, because that's how she did it. And I decided to go with her for once, because I never do. And I stumbled upon that, and I was like, oh fuck it, I'll buy it, I got money on me. I had $5 on me at the time, so if it was like a $10 video, I would have never bought it. But yeah, that's just cool to own. Anyway, I've got one more item left. Scorpion fell down. Actually, technically, I've got 2 more items left. I'll show you the side item now. So here's a little side collection piece. It is the Mortal Kombat X promotional poster. I paid $10, or actually what they do, they don't sell it to you for $10. What they do is, the deal is you donate 10 or more and they give you a poster. So I donated $10 to some cause and that's how I managed to get this poster. It's pretty kick-ass. In fact, when I move out of this place and, you know, get a bigger looking place, this will actually be on a better display than what it is right now. Right now, it's kind of in a backseat sort of looking thing. It's pretty dodgy the way I put it up. But trust me, it will get a much better home soon. Alright, now that I've shown you that part, once again, yes, it was a cool poster. Anyway, I already told you the story. So, let's do the last thing. This is my most recent addition to my Mortal Kombat collection. Now, I know what most of you are probably thinking, it's just another videotape, but no, there's something special about this particular tape. See, this is the rented version of Mortal Kombat. So basically, this is the one that had all the ads before the movie would start. Now, what makes this so special is because this is where I discovered the Mortal Kombat movie, on a rented videotape. And I remember all the ads on it. There was an ad for Atmosphere, which is a board game. There was an ad for a movie called Bed of Roses, I think it was called. And then I think there was a Schindler's List trailer for it. But the ad that always... there were two main commercials that always were in my brain. One was the PlayStation 1 game. They had a trailer for the PlayStation 1 console. You know, all new games available now, get them now. For so long, I thought that was Raiden laughing at the end. It also had a trailer for Mortal Kombat 3, which was coming out at the time. And actually, after the movie's play, there's actually a music video for a song called Stepping Stone, which I have no fucking idea why it made it onto that video. But anyway, back to more about this special. What makes this video special? I just started a lot, but I'm going to leave it in. But what made this so special is that it also had the music video for Duke Joying Jezebels, which was a kick-ass song. I mean, besides the Mortal Kombat theme itself, that was the best song to come out of the movie. And then it also had a ad for Warner Brothers Movie World, Hollywood on the Gold Coast. Let's do it again. There was this ad for Warner Brothers Movie World, Hollywood on the Gold Coast. Now, when I first saw that, I was like, I want to go there so bad. Because, you know, you saw Beetlejuice, you saw Gremlins, Bugs. Now, the funny thing is, only just last year in 2018, I finally went. So, that in itself is a story. Like, fuck. Just to put into perspective, it took me 23 years, but I finally made it to Hollywood on the Gold Coast. But the part I find even funnier about it is that I was like 4 or 5 years old when I first saw this, and my daughter was 5 years old when I took her, so it almost makes it full circle when I finally went. But yeah, this particular VHS copy it's very special to me, and I actually seek this out. And I just remembered, no, I didn't ask him to buy me the VHS. I actually asked him to buy me Mortal Kombat 1 on VHS because I wanted this one when he got me the other one. But I didn't expect him to know the difference between the two. But for me, like, even the cover design, it's my favorite Mortal Kombat thing when it comes to the cover alone. I thought this cover was just so kick-ass. Like, you know, the stone-looking dragon, black background, the little red eye. I didn't like the purchase version that had all the electricity behind it. It just looked stupid. But the simplicity of this videotape is what made it so purchase-worthy. I paid $25 to get this shipped here. So, alright, that's a wrap. That's my Mortal Kombat collection. I have been JD, and you've been watching Idiots. JD out.